What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are going to talk about the DEATHSEED. We're going to take a look at the kit of Archangel and Nemesis and see what is the potential of this team. We are going to try to understand what this team is able to do and break down their abilities, break down the turn order of how this team is supposed to work, and see if the team is solid enough in order to be one of the top teams in the game right now, or if they are going to fall flat. Because while the kits of the DEATHSEED team is quite powerful, there are a few tools that we have in other Horseman teams that makes them super strong, and we don't find those abilities on the specific kits. So we are going to break down the stats of the team compared to other Horseman teams. Then we are going to talk about the speed of the team. We're going to talk about which abilities they have available, what's going to be the turn order, and how we are supposed to use this team on the game, and then see if the DEATHSEED is lackluster or not, because this is not only my opinion, this is also the opinion of other content creators. I have watched the reviews of Tauna and Mobile Gamer, and both of them agree that the kits are a little bit disappointing, but we'll see if it's that the case or not. I also got that impression, but maybe it's not the case. Maybe I'm just not understanding very well how the kit works. So as always, if you like the information on this video, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure you smash that like button. Okay, so let's get started. Let's take a look at the DEATHSEED and see if you can figure out exactly how this team is supposed to work. Okay, so first off, these are the characters that we have available in the game right now. And when we take a look at the stats of the DEATHSEED, there are a few things here that are a little bit concerning. When you take a look at the HP of the characters, it seems that the HP is very low when you compare it to any other kind of Horseman team. If you take a look at the Darkhold, Unlimited, or Gamma, all of those characters, they have they have 1 million or even higher than 1 million when they are in a match. And when you take a look at the DEATHSEED, it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like at least the HP for Psylocke and Magneto, the HP is just very low, around 700,000. And while this team has some additional survivability because of the passive of Psylocke, where she's able to apply multiple evades to the team, is that good enough when you don't have the HP? Are you going to rely 100% on these evades to keep the team alive? And specifically outside of raids. In raids you are going to get 50% more armor if you have defense up, and you have a few sources of defense up, and that's cool. But at the same time, outside of raids, is this team going to be crippled and just relying on the evades? We'll have to wait and see, but this is a big question, because once again the HP specifically of Psylocke and Magneto are not that great. But maybe that's why we have a revive on the kit of Dark Beast, so in case Psylocke or Magneto die, that you can bring them back to life. And specifically if Psylocke dies, maybe that's going to be a good thing, because she's going to apply more evades, more counters, more deflects whenever she gets revived. So maybe this is telling us that you should use Psylocke in the middle of the team, so she is exposed to the maximum amount of damage, so you can also revive her when it's necessary. Okay, so that's a question in terms of the stats. Other problem that we have with this team is the speed. The speed is a little bit lackluster, but we know now from the kit of Nemesis that he's going to be able to apply speed up to the team, and that Magneto is also able to apply speed up to the team. And from the kit of Archangel, we are going to be able to extend the buffs on our team up to 2 turns, which is not impressive, it's not amazing, but it's definitely better than, for example, what the Web Warriors have, because the Web Warriors, they only have buffs for 1 turn, and that cripples the team because you cannot have consistently the buffs on your team. So like this, it's better than the Web Warriors. It's not amazing, but it's definitely better. Okay, so that was in terms of stats. While the focus of these characters is very, very good, the armor, the resistance, all those factors are very good. In terms of the HP, it's a little bit concerning. Now, let's talk about the damage, because the damage is going to be extremely important. In the blog post, we have that Nemesis, one of the upcoming DEATHSEED characters, is going to provide 30% max damage to the team, and this is the same effect that Nakia does to the War Dogs. So that means characters like Magneto, Psylocke, and Dark Beast, they are all going to have 30% more max damage, and this is going to be very impressive because even an older character like Magneto, who's a controller, is gonna have very, very high base damage. You can see that he's gonna have around 70,000 damage. Nakia has around 80,000, Magneto is going to have 70,000, and I have to expect Archangel as a horseman to have higher damage than Nakia. But when you take a look at Dark Beast, also a controller, is also going to have around 70,000 damage, which is very, very high. And specifically is very high because this team, when you take a look at the kit of the characters, they just apply so many bleeds. We have Psylocke applying tons and tons of bleeds with her special, and then we also have Dark Beast applying tons and tons of bleeds with his basic and also with his ultimate. These are going to be very powerful abilities because we are going to be able to stack up so many negative effects on the enemies that it's just going to be painful for them to have like 6 and 7 bleeds at a time after one turn of each character. Now, if we also take a look at the kit of Nemesis, we can also see that it's going to lower the armor of the enemies with bleeds by 30%. This means that you are going to get an increase of damage around 30% as well for normal damage attacks. So this is like having 30% piercing damage. It reduces the armors of the enemy by 30% if they have bleed, but yeah, that's going to increase the source of damage that you do to the enemies, and it allows this team to be less reliable on piercing damage. So if there are attacks with normal damage, or if you have attacks from, for example, Magneto on his basic that does a little bit of piercing damage but not a lot, that means the value of this ability is going to be a lot higher in case the enemies have bleeds, which we expect to have. So as you can see, in terms of the stats, they lack a little bit on the HP, on the damage, focus, armor and resistance. They are very, very strong. So I'm gonna assume that the survivability of this team, unlike the Gamma team, is going to revolve around the evades, is going to revolve around the buffs, extending those buffs, copying buffs from the enemies, extending more those, and spreading those buffs throughout the team. I think this is going to be the main point of the team, and it's going to play in a very different way from all the other teams that we have in the game. Darkhold, they have a lot of barrier and drain. The Gamma team, they have huge amount of HP, drain as well, and the characters are very, very beefy overall. And Unlimited, they have evades, which is the same thing that the DEATHSEED have, but they also have a nice amount of drain. It's not the case of the DEATHSEED, but this might not be a problem, because we're going to talk about the kit of Archangel and see that indeed they don't need any drain. Okay, so let's take a look at these characters in action and try to break down the turn order and why their abilities are going to work so well together. Okay, so let's take a look at this team in action, and I have Pyro to represent Archangel, and I have Minerva to represent Nemesis. Nemesis on his kit is going to be able to steal the health of the enemies, which is going to be extremely powerful. So with his ultimate, he's going to be able to steal 10% of all enemies' health. With his special, he's also going to be able to steal 10% of all enemies' health, And with the basic, he's also going to be able to steal all enemies' health, because once again we're going to have Magneto using his ultimate first turn, faster than anyone else, pulling everyone together, and that means any kind of primary target and adjacent target abilities are always going to attack every single of the enemies on the field. So with this in mind, I thought it was a good idea to use Minerva to represent Nemesis while we don't have access to him, and see exactly what kind of effects we could create with this character. So in terms of position, I think this is probably going to be the best position of the character. So we have Dark Beast, Magneto, Psylocke, then Nemesis, and Pyro is representing Archangel. This might be the situation, this might be the case, but we have to be careful, and we need to see depending on which enemies we are facing, because you don't want Nemesis to ever have Disrupt. If Nemesis has Disrupt, that's going to be a problem, because when you take a look at his kit, especially his special ability, is going to transfer all positive effects from Archangel to Nemesis, and then from Nemesis is going to spread the buffs to everyone else, the same way we have with Brawn. Brawn, he copies the positive effects from the enemies and then spreads to everyone on the Gamma team. With Mystique and Mr. Sinister, all the buffs on Mystique, they are transferred to Mr. Sinister, and then the buffs are spread to everyone else as well. But if it's the case that Brawn or Mr. Sinister or Nemesis, in this specific case, if they have Disrupt, then this ability is not going to work anymore. So we are going to be very, very careful with where we position our Nemesis in order for this to don't happen. Okay, so when we take a look at this team in action, let's get started, let's see how it works. And after we see exactly how this team works, then we'll understand a little bit better on how this team is supposed to work, what they are supposed to do with their kits. Okay, so Magneto will go first because he gets 50% turn meter for the DEATHSEED allies. Then we are going to push everyone together. So all the characters, they were packed up in the middle. There we are not able because we are facing 10 enemies, of course. And at this point, even with the blinds, we have counterattacks, we have all these things going on, already applying vulnerabilities, already applying negative effects to the enemies without you having to do any of your attacks. Okay, so with the Dark Beast, you have the ultimate, which gives counters for everyone. He also applies ability block to one target. He also flips positive effects on the enemies, so this is a very powerful ability in case your enemies have like defense up or taunt or anything like that. You're going to remove that. This is going to be extremely useful against the Strife on the mutant nodes, and we're also going to apply that ability block and do tons of damage. So I expect that Archangel will go before Dark Beast, and the reason why it's because when you take a look at the kit of Archangel, he's going to give offense up on his special. So with his special, which is available on turn 1, he's going to clear all the negative effects away from all the DEATHSEED. This ability might be wasted because Magneto already blind everyone, so it's very unlikely that you'll have any kinds of negative effects on your team. But the good thing is that if any of the enemies apply Disrupt to one of your characters, you're going to be able to clear it up. After you clear those negative effects away, you are going to apply offense up for the entire team, and this is why I think that Archangel will go before Dark Beast. So after Dark Beast has offense up to apply more bleeds and to apply that ability block and flipping the positive effects on the enemies with his ultimate ability. Okay, so when you take a look at that, so now let's imagine Dark Beast, he has offense up, he's gonna flip that taunt, he's gonna apply the ability block, and he's going to do tons and tons of bleeds to the enemies. So there we go, the ability block got removed. Now with Archangel, and we have Pyro to represent this, we are going to use the special, and it's going to attack the primary target and adjacent target. So once again, Magneto pushed everyone together, and we are going to attack these characters. Now, if any character blocks one of abilities, the Archangel is going to get 20% turn meter. up to 100% for sure. So depending on which characters you are facing, if you are facing like Secret Avengers or Young Avengers, let me know in the comments below if you remember any other team that has a lot of deflects. If any of those characters are going to block an ability, that means that Archangel will get one turn right after this one. This is literally insane. This is literally insane. So if you are facing characters with a lot of deflects, if you are facing characters on Alliance Wars with the minor deflects and so on, that means that Archangel is going to get one turn right after his first turn, where you can use his basic ability, which is going to apply tons and tons of bleeds to the enemies. Once again, keep in mind that if the enemies have bleed, they are going to get 30% more damage because of Nemesis passive. So this is going to be massive in terms of damage output, or you can use his ultimate ability. His ultimate ability is going to transfer positive effects from the enemies to Archangel himself. Then Archangel is going to flip positive effects on one target of the enemies and is going to nuke them for 700% piercing. This is massive. This is insane amount of damage and piercing damage, so it's going to ignore all armor. And if Archangel is able to kill the enemies, it's going to extend the buffs. This is only in raids, but it's important in raids. In PvP situations, Cosmic Crucible Alliance Wars is not as important, but it's still a convenient ability. So, as you can see, Archangel is going to be extremely powerful against characters that have blocked chance. Is this going to be enough to one-shot Red Hulk? Probably not, because a maxed out Red Hulk is going to have close to 2 million HP, so even that this 700% piercing damage from his ultimate is very impressive, it might not be impressive enough, and this ability can still be blocked. So yay, I don't know exactly what to say, but we have Magneto pulled everyone together, blind everyone to protect the team. Then we have Archangel giving offense up, clearing any kind of negative effects, disrupt, offense down on our team. Dark Beast flip the positive effects on the enemies. And now, if we, in case we have any block, we have Archangel doing his basic to apply more bleeds to the enemies, or using the ultimate to copy positive effects from the enemies. And finally we have Minerva representing Nemesis, and now she's going to drain all the enemies and heal up our team, bypassing heal block. This ability is so powerful. The fact that it bypasses heal block on every single ability is just huge. We have characters like Omega Red and Morgan Le Fay. Morgan Le Fay does not bypass heal block on her basic, Omega Red does. And this is why Omega Red is much better than Morgan Le Fay on a one-on-one situation, because he doesn't give a fuck. He literally doesn't give a fuck. He bypasses that heal block and he keeps healing himself. And this is exactly what Nemesis does, but for the entire team. It's crazy. This guy is crazy. He's going to bypass the heal block and heal everyone up, it doesn't matter if he has heal block or not. And thanks to that, characters like Psylocke, they are going to be able to apply evades again, increasing the survivability of the team again. Is this going to be enough to compensate the lack of HP? I don't know. It's just something that we have to wait and see. But let's use the ultimate of Minerva. It's going to delete 10% of the health of the enemy. So you can see that even if you are facing a very strong team, a team with a lot of HP, because all of these health stealing, the fact that they have high HP, it's not gonna really matter. Okay, now with Psylocke, she's gonna do massive amount of damage. You have to be very careful with the chain attack of Psylocke, because if you chain attack in the wrong place, you are not gonna be able to attack all enemies. Unfortunately, she doesn't do rebound chain. This is something that I was really expecting, was rebound chain. It's not the case, but she's still able to apply a lot of bleeds, as you can see. And with isolate attack, she's also going to apply defense down to the enemies, which I think it's crucial. You want to apply that defense down to the enemies, so then Archangel, once again with his big ultimate, is able to apply the the piercing damage, the 700% piercing damage, and kill one of the enemies. If he kills one of the enemies after Psylocke apply defense down to the enemies, he's going to provide energy not only to himself but also to all DEATHSEED allies, which is kinda crazy. If he kills one enemy, he's also going to snap one of the enemies with a 200% piercing, which is very good. Once again, I expect this guy to have very high base damage, and then whenever he kills the enemy, he's also going to reduce the speed bar of the enemies by 10%. Now, some people are saying that this is a direct counter to Hela. It's not a direct counter to Hela, because Hela reduces your speed by 10%, you are reducing their speed by 10%. So it's not a counter against Hela, it's just a balance out of what Hela can do. Why do we have this mechanic? This mechanic is to help players with Doom 2 raids. On the Doom 2 raids, because you have Hela with Gregs, and that node was very tough, you always had to use Astonishing X-Men on that node, exactly because of this mechanic. But now with Archangel, that mechanic is gone. You can take the DEATHSEED there and you're not going to have any problem defeating that team. Beyond that, we have that on crits of of this character or any DEATHSEED ally. So keep in mind, Magneto put everyone together. You have 5 characters all packed up. It's very likely that any kind of chain attack will at least always do 1 crit, and this is based on mathematics. That's just, so we're gonna get the 15% crit plus the 10% from base. That's gonna be 25% chance of crit. So if you're attacking at least 3 targets on each of your abilities, that means at least you'll get 1 crit and get this additional healing. So this is going to be very strong, and I don't think this is telling you to change your eyes away to Raider. I think this is a bait to change your eyes away to Raider, to change your eyes away to waste your blue eyes away, and then you have to change it back because it was just not good enough, and it's just much better to use Striker eyes away, at least in characters like Archangel and Psylocke. Okay, so as you can see, very interesting. We also have this additional armor that is going to compensate the fact that this team does not have insane levels of HP. Once again, Dark Beast is okay. The other characters we don't know yet, but Magneto and Psylocke, they're kind of lackluster. So this is going to be the common visuals that you're gonna get. It's the enemies just drowning on negative effects. Then if you use the basic of Magneto, you are going to be able to extend the negative effects in raids, and you have to be very careful with these because you want to extend the right negative effects. Dark Beast, on his turn, he has a chance of applying blind to one of the enemies, so you definitely want to extend those blinds, and you also want to extend the ability blocks that Dark Beast applies. Unfortunately, nowhere in the kit of the new DEATHSEED characters, Archangel or Nemesis, nowhere here we can find a Disrupt or a Stun, so you have to extend the other good benefits or the other good negative effects that are beneficial to you, because yeah, you cannot rely on stuns or on Disrupt, so keep that in mind. Okay, so once again with the basic, let's see if you're gonna get any crit. We didn't got any crit. Once again, it's a chance. And now we have the special ability of Dark Beast. I do not understand why this ability is only available in raids, the clone part, because it's a turn 2 ability. There is no reason for you to not have a turn 2 cloning ability. I don't understand that it doesn't break the team. Like Mr. Sinister is able to clone turn 1. This is a clone 2 and he has taunt. There is literally no reason for this ability to not be available outside of raids. Very confusing for me, and it kinda nerfs the team. The fact that you are not able to clone outside of raids, and also the clone has taunt anyway, so what's the point? Either way, Dark Beast is going to apply defense up to the entire team, increasing the survivability, and in case your Psylocke or your Magneto died, you can bring them back to life, and you really want your Psylocke to die, because every time you revive her, she's going to apply more evades, more deflects, and more counters to your team. Okay, so let's go with that defense up. In raids, this ability also gives some regeneration to the team, which increases even more the survivability of this team. So once again, in terms of survivability, we have the multiple abilities of Nemesis. So we have the basic with the health steal, we have the special with the health steal, and we have the ultimate with the health steal. Then we have the passive of Archangel, applying all those additional healings, that 3%. You have seen this with the Web Warriors, you have seen this with the Bionic Avengers. It seems like a small amount, but if you have enough crits, it's going to stack up fairly quick. And as I mentioned before, we also have the regenerations in raids with the Dark Beast, which is going to keep up this team alive. And once again, I think this team is going to be super fun to play with, because Psylocke is going to apply evades and counters every time you go below 50% health and every time you go up 50% health. So I think this is going to be super fun. And yeah, to a degree, I'm excited for this team. Once again, I'm still confused because the stats right now of the team are a little bit lackluster. It feels like Unlimited before they had their second rework, which is crazy. When a new team gets a rework, it's questionable. But it seems that the DEATHSEED is going to be extremely powerful in raids, 100%. Outside of raids, it's not gonna be the case. And the reason why I think that, it's because of this ability from Nemesis. Nemesis on his ultimate is going to apply slow for 2 turns to the enemies, is going to apply blitz for 2 turns to the enemies, and in raids, I hate this phrase. It's this phrase, in raids, and it's in Alliance Wars defense. In raids, in Alliance Wars defense. No, bro, stop with this. You are ruining the game. So in raids, Nemesis is going to apply trauma for 2 turns for all enemies. Why do we have these? Why not outside of raids? Archangel is the first and only Horseman character that does not have trauma on any of his abilities. He's the first and only Horseman character that doesn't have trauma on any of his abilities. So basic attack applies bleeds, the special applies offense down on kill, and the ultimate, it does tons and tons of damage, flips positive effects, but nowhere to see trauma. When we take a look at the other Horseman characters, we have Morgan Le Fay with trauma on her ultimate. You can see right there, trauma and disrupt on her ultimate, ability block for all controllers. Then on the special of Rogue, we also have trauma, disrupt, offense down and everything on her special, very strong. And finally we have Red Hulk with his ultimate, which also applies trauma. So I am not able to understand why Archangel doesn't have any ability with trauma. Why not trauma on his ultimate? It's a powerful ability, but it's not guaranteed that it's going to kill someone. So it could be used in a way that it had the trauma in it. And even if we start thinking about the awaken abilities of Archangel, which is definitely too soon to think about that, it's very unlikely that he's going to be able to apply trauma. That would be the most powerful awaken ability that we have to date, which none of the other horsemen would have in comparison. But it's a little bit strange that from 4 horseman characters, Archangel is the only one that does not have trauma. And I feel like this is going to cripple quite a lot Archangel in Alliance Wars and also in Cosmic Crucible, because trauma is just so important on those game modes. We have specific rooms like the legendary room right now that if the enemies don't have trauma, any kind of ability block, stuns or any kind of negative effects at all, they are not gonna stick up to the enemies, because the Cosmic Crucible rooms are more powerful than anything you can apply to them without the trauma. So it's something that is very concerning about Archangel, and makes me wonder if it's gonna cripple the entire team because they don't have this ability. It's the only horseman character that does not have trauma on his kit. And the character that has trauma is Nemesis, and once again it's only in raids. This is very concerning, and it makes me wonder if it's gonna really cripple the team. But overall, I'm excited about the DEATHSEED team. I think it's gonna be a very interesting team. Maybe their damage will be so high that they will not require the trauma. Maybe their damage is just so high that it's not going to be necessary. But so far, these are the points of concerns that I have is the lack of health, the lack of trauma. They also don't have a stun. They have a few, very few unavoidable abilities, and also I don't know, like I really wonder if this is Unlimited 2.0 and if they are going to have a rework before the full team is available. You guys let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Are you guys excited for this team? Do you guys have some concerns about this team? One of the concerns I had in the past was if the team was going to be able to keep the buffs on them for a long time, which was a big problem with the Web Warriors. As it seems, this problem has been resolved with Archangel Ultimate. So let's see if the problems we also have with this team will be fixed in the upcoming days with a rework to the stats like the Unlimited ad, or maybe even we don't have the full information of the kits, because this has happened in the past with the Red Hulk and also with other characters, that the kit that they showed to us was not the final version of the kit. And I would love that, because once again, I'm gonna be honest, I like Archangel kit, but seems like he's very specific against the teams with a lot of deflects and with a lot of block chance, and might be crippled out against other teams that are more powerful in terms of control, like the Unlimited, the Darkhold, and maybe the Gamma team. So it seems like this one is going to be the weakest team, but we are going to wait and see if that's going to be the case or not. Let me know what you think about this team in the comments below, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, and if you found information helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.